Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is your boy, the Italian Stallion, and welcome to another episode of Rebels with a Cause, episode 2. And before I bring in my co-host, you know who he is, but I still got to give him a lot of love and a great introduction. But I just want to just give a shout out to everybody right now. But anyway, without further ado, I do want to just say that it is going to be a great show tonight. But anyway, uh, as I was saying, sorry for that. Just wanted to let everybody know that tonight we will be previewing the grudge match for tomorrow night's basketball game. But we're going to get to something first to finish up football, since now we're going to be making that transition from football to basketball. But I want to shout out first to my girl Kim at Tune Up. You need to go see her. She's the one that does my beard. There's 4 locations for Tune Up the Manly Salon. I go to the one in Hardin Valley. There's also one in Carnes and Lenore City, and they just opened up, ironically, one in Alcoa. So actually go pay them a visit. It's okay to get manscaped when you go there, honestly. You can get your beard, your hair done. You can even get manicures and pedicures. I do it all. They got VIP memberships. You can go there. You get 2 drinks there. It's kid friendly. They've got video games there to play while you wait. Sports on every TV. So definitely check them out. Tune Up the Manly Salon and go see my girl Kim over there at Hardin Valley. You will not be disappointed. But without further ado, let's bring on the 2003 Mr. West, the voice of the Running Rebels for 18 years. Basketball. He is everything that is about Marble City. So I want everybody, wherever you're at, to stand up and get loud and be proud, whether you're in Marble City, Westmoreland Hills, Westmoreland Estates, West Hills, Bearden Hill, Western Avenue, Lonsdale, Sequoia Hills, and obviously Sutherland Avenue, Marble City. Give it up for the one and only 2-pair Tate. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. 2-pair, Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. How are you, bud?
Doing great. I'm doing great. Fantastic. There's also another hood, and that's Mechanicsville. Then you know what I'm saying, we also got Sea Hills, the legendary Ridgebrook. So yeah, man, like when you start saying all those Lonsdale, you know, you start saying Mechanicsville, Coya Hills to the Bearden Hill to Western Avenues, like when you say those names, like kids that are on university or wanting to go down the west because it's not that far away. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
like not that far away. Man, how goes it in the new year?
Well, before I get started, I do want to just say that the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or West High School. Just want to get that out there, but hopefully soon we will be affiliated with them if the show catches on, and it will do so with love and support from all you former Rebels and those that support the Rebel community, as well as all the kids and all the athletes and academic and clubs that the school offers. So that being said, brother, it's going good. You know, we're in the third day of the new year. I want to give a shout out to my mama. Her birthday was yesterday, and we celebrated, and it was very special to do that, especially with her health issues these last few years. But I'm blessed to say that she's with us and doing great, and that's always great when we can all get together. The holidays are over. I mean, they come. There's always such that hoopla, and then it goes and it's over like that, and then you kind of just go in the downturn. You know what I mean? And there's still other special holidays coming up, obviously, but obviously the commercial of Christmas and New Year's and the parties and the food and all that always hypes it up 10,000%. And then we're on the downtrend or whatever. But football's wrapping up in college, obviously on Monday, and then you got the NFL playoffs. So that just shows that we're going to be making that transition, and we already are with football. We're going to basketball. But what about you, BT? What you say, brother?
Man, I'm doing great, man. It has been a good few weeks. Everything's like balancing out as far as work wise. Big happy birthday to your moms. You know what I mean? Awesome. And we haven't played a home game in a while. Getting ready for an exciting part of the year now. So January to February is where you kind of want to be if you're playing deep in March. Like this is going to be one of those tests at home.
Yeah.
The last time we saw a Rebels team play ball was December the 23rd.
Wow.
Yeah.
So ironically last year, and holiday tournaments. So yeah.
So that's the last time we seen him in it, and it was against the Halls team that they weren't ready for that type of team. And no disrespect to Halls, but this team goes deep. It's a deep roster. Like it is flooded with talent at every position. Like the backup is good. Like that kid is the starting guy on JV is the 10th man. It can get you a bucket.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and can I say this? Like, let me ask you this. And we're going to get into it, obviously, the X's and O's for this grudge match tomorrow night. I mean, I'm hyped. I'm going to be there. Obviously, you're there. And the truth of it is that this is another grudge match in another sport between Alcoa, a 2A school, the defending 2A champs. Yeah. And I know they lost some guys, but they returned a hell of a team. Not to mention, they've got athletes. I mean, they've got football players who are done with football that have now joined the team. And we'll get into their record and who they've played and what they've done here in a minute. But what I'm intrigued in when we do talk X's and O's is what's coach's style with all this talent? I mean, does he substitute based off of personnel, if there's foul trouble? I mean, give me a little preview of what I'm going to be walking into tomorrow night. Does he just feel comfortable with the 5 out there that are gelling? Because that's a real luxury to have when you can go 10 deep. I mean, 2 platoons. I think back to that Kentucky team that fell short a few years ago where they could literally bring in 5 guys and then bring in 5 other dudes. Yeah. And the height and the wing players, I mean, they were an exceptional group. I mean, they really were. So
yeah, most definitely were. I mean, the Rebels have truly just made a habit of sweeping guys off the court. 7 games by 22 points or more this season. Out of the 9 wins right now, you're looking at a team who shout out to Sherman Showcase for the hoodie.
Nice.
You guys, Sherman Showcase. Great show. Thank you guys for the hoodie. Drop it low for Jesus. Praise God. So the Rebels have been just really like mopping people off the floor. You look at 70-48, the last game that they won, a 30 ball in hostile territory at Austin East. What you're going to be seeing is a team that can play with pace, a team that can really spread you out in a variety of ways. And when you have the good outside shooting of a Reese Clark, who I think is taking a more of a lead this year as being one of the guys. First you would say Devin Martin and Kevin Jack. You know what you're going to get out of those 2 guys. They are a havoc on the lower blocks and on the perimeter with Devin Martin, who I think Devin Martin can do a lot of things. One gifted basketball player, really gifted kid. Now, I'll point to this with the basketball team. The flow of the game and the pace of the game is going to be dictated by Jalen Hill. If Jalen Hill dictates the pace of that game where it's going to be up tempo or half court, he's got the ability to do that on defense and the way he reads his offensive guys. The more so these guys have played with each other, they know where they are. That's why I think Reese Clark, who has just made a tremendous jump from his sophomore year to his junior year, he's paying dividends and with clutch shooting. The game at Austin East really solidified that, and in this holiday tournament that they were in out in Heritage, really, really impressive the way they've looked. And
it was like a coming out party for him, it seems like.
It seems to be you are really going to get an explosive. Reese Clark is having a phenomenal year.
I'm excited. I mean, I watched him a little bit during the Bearden game too, and because and a shout out to Diamond Clear Media. They've really come on strong these last couple of years, not only with their football coverage, but it seems like they're starting to really show basketball and baseball, and I should give some love to the girls basketball as well. So that's awesome that they're doing that, because realistically, not everybody can get to the games, and sometimes you'd like to have that on as background if you can't be there, or go back and watch it if you missed it. So I want to give a shout out to Diamond Clear Media for allowing people like myself that may not be able to make a game to go back and watch it. And from what I've watched from this Rebel team that is on Diamond Clear Media, it's been exciting. It's been fun to watch, and I can't wait to see it live, and we're going to get into that game a little bit later. We have some business real quick to finish up with football. And obviously, with football finishing up, there's going to be a lot coming up in these next few months with all the teams. I mean, there's still some coaching positions that are open. You could still have some coaches take some other jobs. You could have some players that move and transfer. I mean, it's crazy now how it is then compared to when we were in school and played and how everything was. But it's competitive, it's fun, and it gives us something to talk about. So
absolutely, especially with the recent changes that it just happened right before we went on air.
Yeah, go for it. Announce it. Go ahead, Two Pair. You got the floor. Announce it.
So I would say that South Doyle just got my man Larry L.A. Hendrick.
Yep. Yep, that's him.
Yeah. Impressive because he comes from a good coaching tree, and he's had some all-state performers, I think, to the tune of 30?
Yeah.
30 all-state performers he's coached.
Yeah.
So
four Mr. Football semifinalists, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, as well. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's coached at Central. He's coached at King's Academy under Matt Lowe, when Matt Lowe was there, before Matt Lowe went back to Powell. And obviously he's been with Fulton for the last few years as well. So he has delved in to many of the area coaches who have these, honestly, they have rings and so forth. And obviously South Doyle has had some success here lately, but it's not been consistent. And of course, before Clark Duncan came to South Doyle, they had a team that would maybe be 4 or 5 wins if they were lucky. But it seems like Clark really took them to that next level, and they got some kids to come out. And the thing is, with Coach Hedrick, he's going to bring a toughness to the program. He's got a lot of connections. I'm sure he's going to put together a good staff. And furthermore, that area in South Knoxville is growing. You go down Governor John Sevier when you're driving, Two Pair, and they've got a new neighborhood, probably with 90 homes. And there could be potential, kids that are going to come out for football that move from California or New York or somewhere, up this way, and they get a home in a nice development like that, and there's the school right down the street. And he definitely is going to. I would not be surprised if South Doyle gets so big that they make the move back up to 5A, which they're a 4A school right now, just because the numbers, they do it every couple of years, and that this area is growing, and they're going to be taking a census again come this August or September, and then the TSSAA is going to meet like they do, and then they're going to give teams the options to move up, move down. I'm going to be very curious of what Maryville is going to do, because technically Maryville is still a 5A school, but they've played up in the 6A, and I wonder if they will go back down to 5A or they'll stay at 6A. I'm not trying to troll them. I'm just interested of what they want to do, honestly, at this point and so forth, because they had played at the higher league because they felt they weren't challenged at the 5A level. But now Oakland, and it seems like those teams from Middle Tennessee are running the show now, and Maryville will always be Maryville, but the rumblings on the message boards have been that they don't have the administrative support like they used to, and the good old boys are getting a little upset about it. And I'm just going to say that I'm very blessed that what we have at West, with the support, like we talked about last week, from top to bottom, with coaches and administrators and fellow teachers, because that's what Maryville used to be, and it ain't that now, Two-Pair. It ain't. So
it's not, and you can really sense it. You can really start sensing that through all the sports programs, because the football is kind of like a college football program when you look at what we've done over the course of 2 years.
mm-hmm.
It's a trickle-down effect to every sport in the school.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they start seeing those trophies, it's not like West has never won trophies in anything, like state swimming, state tennis,
Track, golf,
track,
yeah, cross country, they won a few, so yep.
Yeah, but when you start saying football, that hadn't been said before.
No.
It hadn't. But and then when you do it back to back in this time frame, it's totally different. It's
yeah, it is. And that's a great segue to 5. I've been waiting for this because he does it every year. And listen, I've got nothing against the guy. I don't. The 5-Star Preps did a beautiful, and I really think it was more Ryan Scott's father that had to do with it. The great linebacker for West, who's a senior and going to graduate in May, and like I said last week, and I will stand by it. His mother's a wonderful woman, comes from a great family, and the best linebacker to ever come through West. Honestly, you watch him in that Alcoa game last year. They won. He intercepts that pass. He was vital in the Maryville game this past year, getting the fumble, and which basically sealed the deal and ended the streak of Knoxville teams losing in the black hole. I mean, you walked into that stadium, you see state champions. I mean, it's intimidating. And West was the team that went in there and broke it open, kind of like how Tennessee beat Florida in the swamp all those years ago and drained the swamp. And teams started going into Florida when Ron Zook was there and Spurrier was gone, and beating Florida till Urban Meyer came back or came into the picture. But it's I feel that sense that with West going in there and draining the black hole, Bearden went in there and did it. Farragut went in there and did it. And, don't be surprised. And, Alcoa's won there before. But I'm just saying it's something for Knoxville teams to go there and beat them at their own game, But I was going somewhere with this, and I got a little bit off track. The 5-Star Preps did that documentary with Ryan Scott's father, and they followed the team around, and it was called One More Week. It was a gorgeous documentary. It was showcased not too long ago on a Sunday at the Tennessee Theater, no less. I mean, it was a big deal. And you can go on youtube.com and watch it, One More Week, and it starts when West is going into the third round of the playoffs, about to play undefeated Daniel Boone. It then you get insight from the players, the coaches. It's a very awesome documentary, which I do want to bring up, that me and Two-Pair Tate have a documentary that's in the can. And unfortunately, I didn't have the money nor the resources to finish the documentary at the time. But I do have an announcement that I do want to make, that Coach Mark Giles, who used to coach at West, who was an executive producer with Coach Kevin Lane, who's now at Bearden, we had come up with that idea. We all met, if you remember, years ago, Two Pair. You even did a rap for it. I have all the footage and everything, and my intention is to finish that that documentary about the first state championship. But obviously, we filmed it. It's in the can. It just needs to be put together. But I'm proud to announce that I will be getting a MacBook computer because everything was shot for a MacBook. I unfortunately have a Windows-based PC, so I should have done it back then. Hindsight's always 2020. That we should have shot it on the regular PC, and I could have already had it done and out by now and so forth. But MacBooks are expensive. I'm able to get one that is still very functioning, and we'll be able to do and get that footage out there. And obviously, that's going to be very exciting. And hopefully, I can get it released sometime this year, maybe by Christmas, because I don't want to rush it. I want to take my time with it and give that first group the stories that we learned during that interview process was amazing. And I think it means something more after the fact because it was still fresh in their minds. I mean, it's hard to interview somebody now 8 years after the fact. I mean, even before this show, Two Pair, you were saying, how do you remember these memories from school and so forth like that? And I just do. And, these kids have had life, and some people that were around at that time aren't with us anymore, which is really sad. They've lost some parents along the way. Fellow teammates that were on the team passed away. So I want to make sure that their story gets told because that was a special bunch. And a shout out to the 2013 team that also gets interviewed in that footage because they came up 1 point short and they were a special group that got West over that hill. Always at the semifinals, but they got that to the championship game and just fell short. And the juniors and the rest of the team that lost on that team came back and won the whole thing the next year. So, and that ironically is Rebels with a Cause, the documentary. And ironically, our show's called Rebels with a Cause. So I wanted to make sure that got out there. Yeah. So
full circle.
Full circle. And again, life happened. It was unfortunate that I couldn't get it done. Back then, a lot of circumstances also were going on with the coaching staff at that time where Jeff Herrig was running the show. And of course, he didn't make it past 2 years at West. And of course, Coach Brown has taken over and elevated this program into heights that have not been seen before. And like I said, it's going to be very special when we get this documentary out to tell that bunch's story. But needless to say, again, the documentary was helped by and promoted by 5-Star Preps, which I've always felt that 5-Star Preps has always done everything they can to kind of take a dig at West. And maybe it's just because I'm very sensitive about my school and this program. And until you've been a West Rebel, you don't understand what it is. And I've talked about the adversity that our school has faced, losing classmates, and so I take the insults at West personally because that school gave me everything that I've been blessed with. It gave me an opportunity to shine, to become a rebel myself and make a cause. And that's why it's so special. But that being said, 5-Star Preps released their way too early top 12. And I want to read something about it if you'll give me 1 second, because obviously I want to get back to basketball. But more than anything, I just looked at the rankings and I was shocked that West was ranked that low. I'm going to read the teams in order. Alcoa is number 1.
Okay.
Bearden's number 2. I agree. Bearden's going to have a heck of a team this year. Catholic's number 3. They've always got to be in there. But the truth of the matter is they're in a private school league where they play Montgomery Bell and Baylor and McCallie and Brentwood Academy. I mean, they don't really play the local teams here, but they're in the poll. So I understand why they're ranked that high. Powell's number 4. I'll get to that in a minute. Oak Ridge is number 5. 6 is Maryville. 7 is Greenville, powerhouse in 4A. And then you have West at 8. Finishing it up, 9 is Sevier County, 5A school. 10 is Anderson County, 4A school.
Mm-hmm.
11 is Halls, who had a very nice season last year.
Mm-hmm.
Really played West tough in that game. And Jefferson County rounds out the top 12. And again, he said it's way too early. And, he gives his explanations. He knows that things can change and yada, yada, yada. But here's the thing. We're the kings of 5A. And you're going to put us behind Powell, who we absolutely ran off the field. And Powell's got to replace their entire offensive line. And they got to replace Steven Souls, a Kentucky commit. I mean, this isn't a guy that just went to some, Western Kentucky. He went to Kentucky, who went toe-to-toe with Clemson in the Gator Bowl. Kentucky that, is in the SEC. Mm-hmm. So, a little respect. Yes, they have some guys coming back, some flashy guys. But when we're the kings of 5A and the beasts of the East, I think we deserve the number 4 ranking ahead of Powell and Oak Ridge. We'll settle it on the field next year. But I want to read to you what he wrote about number 8 West. For all the other teams, he mentioned names, name dropped. Fine, those guys are coming back. But it's not like West's cupboard is completely bare. This is what he wrote. He wrote, "We're not sure who the starting quarterback will be. Not sure who the starting running back will be. Not sure who's replacing C.J. Smith, Ryan Scott, nor Anderson Smith-Eider. I'll give you that. We talked about it last week. Mm-hmm. But 2-time defending champion West has earned our trust as a program. They'll be competitive somehow." So you took a shot, then you took another shot, you gave a backhanded compliment, and then you took one last shot or whatever. If I was Coach Brown, I'd take that nice little snippet, blow it up, and put it all over the weight room when you get back in there next Monday and start throwing it up or what have you like that. And let's show them again why it's going to be a three-peat. And I don't care if Paige is there again. I mean, here's the thing. You want a name drop? Yes. I mean, we talked about it. Ryan Scott, I just mentioned him. Anderson Smith, C.J. Smith. Those guys don't come along ever so often. But what about Wyatt DeRoche, who had, just almost as many sacks as C.J., and he was just an absolute bull. What about our boy Jack Keith, who's on the basketball team? 108 tackles. I mean, he's going to be one of the stud linebackers. Why didn't you mention him? How about our boy Antarius McAllister, number 24? He's going to be one of the best free safeties in the area. He's coming back. And let's not forget number 1. I mean, Burdine, Antoine Burdine. He really came on playing both sides of the ball at cornerback and wide receiver. So we ain't completely void of talent. And not to mention Tavian Ray really filled in nicely when Marshawn and Devin were out. So we talked or what have you about it. That's how I interpret it. Again, maybe I'm a little too sensitive, but at the same time, when you talked about this last year and we came back and won it again. What's even more interesting, I look at this early top 12. Don't ever say West don't play anybody, 2-pair. Mm-hmm. Alcoa, Bearden, Powell, Maryville, Anderson County, and Halls. 6 of the other teams in that preseason top 12 are on West's schedule. So we'll settle it on the field like we did this past year. But that's an insane schedule.
It is.
No matter. I mean, we play the best. We ain't afraid of nobody. That's the thing. We will play anybody, anytime, anywhere. Simple as that. To get better, that's where this program is, And again, until a team in 5A like Powell and Oak Ridge beats us. Again, what did I say? October 18th, 2019 is the last time we lost a game in 5A in a regular season. And 700. Yeah, for real. Yeah, and it was by 1 point to Powell because we wanted to go for 2. We could have gone to overtime and maybe won. And then in the playoffs, the last 5A school to beat us, again, Walter Nolan, who's committed to Ole Miss, was on that Powell team. And they needed Walter Nolan to win that state championship. They had some fun guys on the offense, but at the same time, like Potts and Aiden Green and all them guys, but they needed Walter Nolan to finally stop the West running game because West was running all over them in years past or what have you. So my point is, until those teams like Powell and Oak Ridge can beat us, don't talk to me about who's the best in 5A. I'll give you Alcoa, I'll give you Bearden, and I'll give you Catholic over us, but we beat Maryville. We beat Powell. Heck, we beat Bearden. But I know that Bearden team is going to be really loaded this year. And that first game is going to be an amazing game at Bearden High School. But don't tell me that we don't have no talent still left there. We'll find a quarterback. We'll find a running back. You guys out there on football that are watching this is a challenge to you to make your own story. You know, you got one of these. You're going to get another one when you get the ring sizes. But go out there and show why you matter, why you're a West Rebel, that you contributed, you know, and make your story. And again, until one of those teams from up north in the Northeast or around here show that they can beat us, you don't talk to me. You don't talk to me right now. That's the respect. And maybe I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying the W runs this thing for right now until anybody says otherwise.
But I thought when I read it, you know, I the best part about it is the way it was worded.
Yeah.
And from the way it was worded, I shared it because if anything, you give a back-to-back state champion more to prove, and you blow that picture up. You put it everywhere. You even put it in the school.
Put it in the school. Absolutely.
That quote up in the school next to 2 titles, and if we do compete for that third, if you know, that's pretty tough. To do. Have that comment right there every day that those kids see that. Put that by those things, like let it sink in.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really have to prove people wrong on the field and in the classroom.
Exactly.
You got to, like, and then that's what Wes has been doing, is been able to show it in the classroom and show it on the field.
Yep.
Now they're just showing it on the field in a totally different way.
Oh, yeah. And two pair. I mean, not to minimize it, because I spoke passionately about it last week, but literally, man, this team got better every week. I watched growth, and you had guys injured, playing hurt, and they still found ways to win. Was it pretty all the time? No, but they did enough to win. And you know, I'll give Rick Russo this. Channel 8, who's partnered with 5-Star Preps, they gave us DAP every week. They really did. They had us either Alcoa or us ranked 1 or 2. And then, of course, Alcoa won the game, and it stayed 1 and 2. But realistically, I mean, it's like West played their best ball in November when you want to be playing it, you know. And those guys went out there and won. They did what was expected of them. They wanted to finish their story. And again, yeah, it's hard to replace a CJ Smith and a Ryan Scott and Anderson Smith. They don't come along very often. But I knew that those guys were good enough coming back from last year's team that they would be the leaders that were going to be needed to repeat. And you got guys like Jack Keith and Wyatt DeRoche and Antoine Burdine that are juniors that are going to be seniors. McAllister, that it's their time now. You know, Tavian Ray, it's their time to shine. And, you know, as far as the quarterback goes, you know, Parker Dubon is on the roster. He's a junior, going to be a senior. You know, he's gotten reps before. I mean, why can't he lead us to a 3rd straight state title? You know, he's got 3 guys on the offensive line coming back. And I'm going to tell you this, they got some big old boys coming up that I hadn't seen before. And I can't wait to see them get on the offensive line, get stronger in the weight room, and bully people around. Again, it's nice that Powell has some young guys and some, you know, they got Deuce back. I'll give them that, who plays basketball too. And of course, they've got Connor Wheeler. But who's going to block for those guys? That's what I want to know. When you have to replace all them hog mollies up front or whatever, and even that big line was getting whipped off the ball that 3rd round game by the defense. I mean, that's all I need to say there, you know, honestly. But again, this group of Rebels, I'm excited to see them play. I'm excited to see their story. And, you know, this is the time that when you win in the fall, what you do in the weight room, those extra reps, those stadiums, running up Tobler Lane, that is what gets this football team back. And here's the thing, like I said, until somebody up in Bristol proves otherwise, no disrespect, but this team, the basement is the third round of the playoffs. The ceiling is state. And that's where this program is at this moment until somebody proves me otherwise. Simple as that. And this coaching staff is elite from top to bottom. They get these kids better. The kids buy in. The kids become men. And I don't know how they stay together, but this coaching staff loves each other. They pray together. It's wonderful to see the camaraderie, and they really are that slogan. I have 3 signs in my front yard representing each of the state championships. We are One West. And I'm hoping to transition back to basketball. This basketball program can do the exact same thing. And it starts tomorrow night in Marble City at the West High Gym against the defending 2A champ Alcoa, who are 9-8. So let's talk about the game. Let's get these people hyped for this game tomorrow night. I did some research on Alcoa, two-pair, and here's the thing. I don't know if they just really love playing basketball or they just can't get anybody to play them, but they have in the last you talked about how Wes's last game was when? December 23rd, you said? Is that correct?
December 23rd.
Okay. So in that same span of games, from December 12th to just December 30th, in a tournament down in Florida, Alcoa has played 7 games since December 12th. And they lost to Bearden at Bearden 71-79. They lost a game on December 15th and 16th that was at Hardin Valley. It was a couple of holiday games. One was to Hamilton Heights. They lost 62-77, and then they lost to a school out of North Carolina named AC Reynolds, and they lost 62-68. Go ahead. And then for those 2 games against Hamilton Heights and AC Reynolds, they did not have Javin Carter, one of their better players. But Javin redeemed himself on December 19th and beat Maryville almost single-handedly. He scored 28 points in a 55-54 win, beating Maryville for the 4th straight year and defending home court. And Maryville has not beaten Alcoa at Alcoa for 4 years now in basketball. So that's something to be proud of for the Alcoa kids. So, yeah. But after that, they took Christmas off, and then they went down to Panama City for a tournament. They beat Madison County, a school there in Florida, 62-57. On December 29th, they played Darlington out of Georgia in that same tournament and won 67-62. And I don't know if they just had tired legs or just ran into a buzzsaw, but they played a high school from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and lost 62-82 by 20 points. So that's where Alcoa is at with the 9-8 record. Couple of players that they really depend on are Jameer Dean, who's a freshman, as well as their senior guard, Brady Hahn. Obviously, I mentioned Javin Carter, who's the Penn State signee. And then obviously they played West earlier this year, but the football players were not available. Neither were West's. And West won that game at Alcoa 73-71. But I think you're going to see 2 different teams tomorrow night, especially with the addition of Eli Owens and Eli Graff on the court for Alcoa tomorrow night. So I'm expecting a fun up and down game with a lot of scoring in the 70s. You know, that's what I'm thinking. But what do you think, two-pair Tate? I've spoken enough. I want to hear what you got to say, brother. So,
man, I really think West has to initiate the first blow. Like they've got to come in with the first swing in a matchup like this. They got to dictate the pace of the game. And that all lies in with Jalen Hill. I think if Jalen Hill dictates the pace of this game to where everybody's in fluid motion of scoring, passing, and defense, I think they've got an incredible chance to, you know, do what they normally do. They've just had trouble at home. The Austin East game, that showed us that we really need to protect the ball. And then the next week, they win by 30.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about them controlling the pace because we've got to allow those shooters to get in rhythm with Dupree and Birch off the bench. And I really think Jack Keefe's playing well off the bench as well. He's playing pretty good.
Even Hunter Dance, you said, is even contributing as a quarterback, so that's now playing basketball. So
yeah, Hunter Dance contributing well, and there are. I'm leaving. I may be leaving out somebody on the team right now. It will come up to me. It's just really slipping my mind. I want to say we may have talked about him last week off the bench. Let me go to this quick.
no, you're fine, man. No, and you know what? While you're looking that up, I'm excited from a standpoint with
Dane,
the atmosphere.
I don't even know why I forgot that. Dane Britton. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Britt. Yeah, Britt. So.
Dane Britton is the X factor, but I want to say he got hurt in the Austin East game, and I don't know if he's cleared to play. So be on the lookout for that. If he's cleared to play, this is a whole different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. I don't know. They're athletes. I'm talking about Eli Owens and Eli Graff. Once upon a time, Catholic tried to put Harrison Smith out there for basketball, and it's a good thing he was good at football because he was not that great at basketball, but he was tall, and Catholic needed people out there and so forth. So I'm not trying to disrespect the two Elis or what have you, because they were heck of athletes on the field, but it's different from football to basketball. It really is, and so forth. I mean, Owens got a critical foul near the end of the game against Maryville that almost cost the game. It was an illegal moving screen that gave Maryville a chance, and Maryville actually scored a three-pointer off of that to cut the deficit from 55-51 to 55-54. So again, I don't know how the refs are going to call the game. Are they going to let them play up and down? There's so many factors. There is. But if West can, hold on to the ball and not give Alcoa those chances and so forth, I see West winning this game or what have you. And again, I don't know what the health is of some of those guys. I mean, that's a lot of basketball to be playing, a lot of traveling. And again, you can get better because of it, but also you can get worn out because of it. And I'm intrigued to see how this West basketball team with their layoff since the the 23rd you said again. So it was a couple of days before Christmas. So, they've got to get their legs back underneath them. And the thing is I think that school is back in session tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm hoping the kids will come out and get rowdy and so forth. Honestly, they need to get out there and support this team and really elevate them and make that gym a home court, kind of like how West football's crowd is when they're behind them, and make it a real home atmosphere. A real sixth man. Not to be too cliche. That's what I say too, Pear. So
yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. It'll be jumping in there. We'll be having some great music as always, and it'll be a great atmosphere. It will be a tremendous one. Hopefully, everybody come out, and those are the best nachos you're going to get in Knox County. Shout out to Constance and everybody in the Venable family. That's at the concession stands. So you're going to get a good treat, and you're going to get a good basketball game from both teams. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a fun game to watch. A lot of people are going to talk about it. It's going to be on the radio. It'll be one of those games we'll talk about, hopefully in a good way, because just looking at this West team, Alcoa is just they're just hopefully getting their stride back because they're 9-8,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
And here's the thing, to be fair, with the exception of that preseason tournament, or sorry, not the preseason tournament, this holiday tournament they were just in, they got 2 games there. Realistically, they're only 3-5 in their last 8 games. And why that's substantial to me, I know they didn't have Carter for 2 of those games, but realistically, I mean, they've kind of limped in here. I mean, they're kind of limping in, and that's why I want to see how their legs are, because they've played a lot of basketball. If West hasn't played enough, you could argue. Shout out to my boy Lance Alt. He said, "Can't wait to see that ring on your other finger." That's what he just said. We got a comment right there. So let me see. Let me show that real quick. There it is, right there. I love it. So can't wait to see that other ring on your finger. I love it. I can't wait to get sized for it. So that's the thing. So yeah, but yeah, hey, if anybody's watching, leave your comments, man. If you got a question, get it out there, baby. I want to give a shout out to Dina Goldstein. She's going to be embarking on a journey to Asia, on the other side of the world for like a year. And when she gets her handle out there, you can follow her along and so forth on her journey. And she's going to be sharing a lot of beautiful videos and pictures from another side of the world I've never been to. So, but I want to give her a shout out, and another shout out to Tune Up, the Manly Salon. Go check them out and so forth. My girl Kim, she does my beard, Kim Castle. Go check her out at Hardin Valley. They got 3 other locations. If Hardin Valley's not close to you, they just opened up a spot in Alcoa right over there in Pistol Creek. So shout out to Frank and Jeanette opening up over there. And obviously their Carnes and Lenore City location are always rocking it. And you can go there for shoulder massages, pedicures, manicures, beard trims, mini facials. If you've never had a mini facial before, it's an amazing experience. And Kim does it great with all the oils and the hot towels. It's okay, men, to pamper yourself. It really is. Trust me. It's an amazing thing. And again, you get a couple of alcoholic drinks or non-alcoholic, whatever your preference is. You can sit there at the bar while you wait and watch the game on the TVs. They got video games there to play. I mean, it's a fun, awesome place for dudes. And women can have their salons and all that, and their nail places and everything like that. Why can't a dude have a place to have a drink, get their hair done, and watch some sports on TV, especially with the NFL playoffs coming up? So big time stuff. But I'm expecting a grudge match tomorrow night. And like I said, and 2 pairs for those that have not been to a West basketball game, how is the setup, by the way? Like, what time does everything start? What's the price of admission? I want to really get that out there, honestly. I really do, and so forth. So people know what they're walking into. I mean, is it cash only? Do they have a credit card thing now set up? I mean, things are different now. Not many people carry cash no more. Do they Venmo somebody? What's the deal? So.
I think they do just cash only. Yeah, I want to say they do cash only, $6 to get in.
$6 to get him. Okay.
Yeah, I always do cash for like the games because I've never seen. Is there does any Knox County school have that set up?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it is cash, but you know what they set up now? That you can pre-purchase the ticket ahead of time with a credit card, but they charge you a fee on the thing. That's what they used to do for the football games. Like, you could get your ticket ahead of time and beat the line, and that way you already have it, and then they scan it when you walk in or whatever. It's just like on your phone, but again, it's more money than what you would pay at the gate with cash and so forth because of that fee for a credit card. It's all different now, man. It's unbelievable. And I think part of that too was the remnants of COVID, like the fact contactless and, get your spot because there might have been a limitation, and it just kind of kept, I think, from what I understand. So when we lived through that dark time, so still are technically, but when it was like really bad,
but it was really bad
at the beginning, type of a thing. So
but a dope atmosphere. The girls will be playing at 6 p.m. I want to say. So, I mean, hopefully they can that can get things together and get things on the right foot for it.
Can I say something, BT? And I'm gonna go back a little ways, okay? I'm gonna go. I want to give a shout out
Yeah, go
to.
ahead.
I want to give a shout out to the Farinas, Amy and Melissa Farina. I want to give a shout out to Lauren Staunch. It was a Stancher, I think it was, or what
Oh,
have you. Ashley Coward, Rachel Bast.
yeah,
I want to
Carrie
give.
Hill,
I'm name dropping right now
so
with the
shout
girls that went to school with us, and they may not have liked me, but I thought they were cool. I thought they were cool. I went to a few of
you're,
their
you're
games,
going
and
back to the old school.
I
So
am. Oh, I am.
that's
I
the
am. And let me tell you this. What was her name? Laura's sister, Kristen Stancher. She played too, I think. And and you know, I, I don't like to bring up the other stuff, but here's a show. There are no secrets here. Okay, there are no secrets. I mean, this is our thing. But I seem to remember that this girls' team was supposed to be so loaded, and they couldn't have picked the worst coach to coach them, and they all quit on him. I mean, the Andy Rhines was his name, and so forth. And the girls all told me quietly, because remember, I used to write for the West Wind. I wrote for that newspaper,
I
and so
thought
I got a gang of stories that I've kept.
I,
I mean,
I
so.
you know what I like this for me. I loved Coach Ryan's.
I didn't have, but apparently Rachel Bass told me the teacher and the coach are two different people. That's what he said. That's what they said. So we weren't players for him, but we interacted with him, in the classroom. But again, is it sour grapes? I mean, I'm not going to speak for these girls,
But
but
we got to understand Coach Ryan's coached Vincent Yarbrough,
yes,
Ron Mercer,
yeah,
Corey Brewer.
yeah.
Like he's he's a great men's basketball coach.
And I don't know why he was. I mean, I mean,
But that's a difference between coaching.
it is
It is not.
totally.
Put it like this: if Andy Rhines was the men's basketball coach, like, dude, just from the stories I used to hear about Ron Mercer, Vincent Yarbrough, like Coach Rhines was my English teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and he caught me reading Slam magazine, and we became like this. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what I'm saying.
he would have the guys practice. We used to practice against the girls,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and for the most part, I think it was the way messages was drawn up for women towards men. If I was playing for Andy Rhines, I'd run through a wall for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I would, because what guy is getting some of the best guy basketball players to practice against his girls' basketball team,
Mm-hmm.
helping them. That's the physicality.
Mm-hmm.
You put the mindset that you're playing up against somebody stronger than you. You
Yeah.
outperform that in practice. That's why I thought Andy Rhines was good.
Well, and you know what? There's something that I didn't know about. I didn't know that he had the girls practicing against guys. That's a Pat Summitt, rest in peace, and Gino Auriemma thing right there. Now they all do it, but they were doing it before everybody else was doing it. Like
Yeah.
the Kim Mulkeys and the Don Staleys. Now it was altogether different back then when Pat and Gino ruled women's basketball. So that's a hell of a concept. You know what I think they didn't like about Coach Rhines, by the way, and I ain't gonna lie. Football and basketball are kind of like, basketball's right after football and so forth like that. So anyway, even though we were practicing on the football field as well as the practice field, it's now the softball field. Interesting enough, he had the girls up at the track and he was running them like I ain't seen nobody be run before. And I think that's what they couldn't handle, the conditioning. And he wanted to be better than the other team. You want the other team hogging air in the fourth quarter. I don't give a crap what sport you play or whatever. If you're better conditioned and you're that much tougher than them on the other side,
Yeah.
and that's what it was. I mean, and there were some girls that couldn't complete it, and he was merciless. He was like, listen, If you can't complete this, how can you run up and down a court for 24 minutes or whatever it is? You know what I mean? Like, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all, and so forth. So I say all that it's a shame because those girls were talented. And he was even excited about Kristen Stancher and that group coming up and so forth. And unfortunately, it just did not come to fruition. As a matter of fact, you know, I'm going to name drop a name that I could not believe. I don't know what happened because I know that the brother graduated with me and he was very talented musical theater person in Michael Merchant, if you remember him.
Merchant.
His sister was a hell of a player. She was in your class. Sakara or something was her name. And I don't know how the girl was like the whole team scoring all these points and then she don't come out. I don't know if she got kicked out of school. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. There was talent
as a freshman.
Yes. And she was the whole team. Like they won games because of her. And I was a sophomore. And so you had her brother who was like the most talented singer and you know actor in musical theater and she's tearing it up on the women's basketball court and then nothing after. Like just goes into that behind the curtain, never to be seen again. Pay no attention. And I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say that, but there's been so many girl players at that school. And how can they not make it work?
We can rattle off the names.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Shira Bewley and that.
Shira Bewley. Now that was a player right there. So
Shira Bewley and what Mikey Smith.
Yeah. Yeah. And who was the Spanish transfer or the Spanish girl, the Spanish exchange student? She was on that team with Bewley or what have you as well. Miriam was her name, I think. Miriam. So yeah. And then wasn't Kessler's daughter really good? Chris Kessler's daughter was real good and so forth. So yeah, I mean
Erica Lane, Morgan Jack, and
yep.
that group. But that Shira and Kiera, that group was really good.
They got to state, and unfortunately, those poor girls draw Riverdale, who was like the class of the class at the time, and lose. You know, it's like that should have been the game that was for it all, not the first part of the state section in Murfreesboro.
I thought that West team could win a championship.
Yeah, that was the only year that the boys and the girls were both phenomenal. They were both amazing that year.
Yeah,
I can't think of another time. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it hurt me to see the scores of the girls' team, you know, and it's like they're playing. I don't know. They can't seem to find a coach that's consistent. They even tried Deidre Charles, the great Lady Vol, for a while and it didn't work or something. So it's not like they haven't tried.
God rest her soul.
Yeah, God rest her soul. I mean, I just don't understand why the girls' basketball team has always had some problems because the girls' soccer team has always been competitive, no matter if it was Sonny Trotter coaching them or now this Romero guy that's coaching them now. They seem to be competitive every year, no matter what. They always fell short against maybe a weird
girls' soccer team. Always competitive, though.
More girls came out for it. I don't know.
Because West is, I can't remember a time in my life where West girls soccer wasn't good.
No, the only thing that was, you know what the problem with West girls soccer was? There was Bearden girls soccer. Always in the way. Always. I mean, they're the national champions. They're the number one team in the country. Forget state. They're the number one team in the country. They have not lost a game in 4 years, honestly. That team from New York tied them on a miracle, but it was like, they don't lose. And it's always been Bearden or the Farragut girls in West's girls' way. Always. And that's what made it so special.
That's what I've always said. Like, girls volleyball, girls
softball. Yeah.
Competitive. All the time.
Yep.
It's just been, I don't know, man. I can't point it out what's lacking with the girls basketball team. I think they just need encouragement.
Yeah. I mean, they need support. I mean, I know that I'm going to get there tomorrow to watch them, and then watch the boys' game, obviously, and give love to both teams. And I hope that they try hard because Alcoa girls don't play. They've always been that's another team that has always been solid. Alcoa's girls team. They've always had a very good girls team as well with the players that have gone through that program over the years. Hannah Trout comes to mind because I worked with her dad, and that was a really good team back in 2011 and 12, if I'm not mistaken. And their problem was they always ran into CAK. That the girls team always had problems with CAK back when they were all. It was not private and public; it was all mixed together. You know what I mean, type of a thing. So, like I said, it hurts me that they're not that they've not won a game. They've lost. You don't even have to look at the scores to mention it. But if any of the girls watch this show, we've got your back. I hope you guys, stick with it. And you mentioned that great story last week about you had Terry Maples walking through the halls. You had TJ Blakely walking through the halls. If there's a girl out of 1,400 students there at West, go out there and try basketball. Maybe you're a wing player and you got a heck of a shot and just need to be shown the mechanics. Maybe you're a post player that can just stand under the basket and be a rim protector, and also get the rebound, kick it out for an open J. I don't know. I mean,
there's got to be some girl walking.
There has to be.
Has to be.
Yes.
There's got to be a girl that wants to play Division I. You mean to tell me in a school that big?
Yeah.
That big.
Mm-hmm. And look where they're coming from, man. I mean, they're like you mentioned Mechanicsville, all these different places. You mean to tell me that your mama and dad wasn't an athlete and you weren't
don't play basketball? Like, I just don't. It perplexes me that school is that big and there's girls don't want to play.
Yeah.
Like, you have a really standout football, basketball programs.
Mm-hmm.
Women's soccer, girls track,
boys track, cross country for both of them, the golf teams, the tennis teams, swimming. You mentioned has always been pretty competitive.
Man, we had a girl that was an Olympic gold medalist.
That's what I'm saying. So you mean to tell me that you don't have a lady vol somewhere walking around there, or
an Olympic gold medalist walking our school?
It's unconscionable.
Shout out to Stowers.
It is.
Shout out to her. Julie Stowers. But yeah, like I'm just like
yeah. I mean, listen. All I know is that they need to stick with it. I hope that they get a coach, that can get them to buy in and make it fun. Unfortunately, women's basketball gets a reputation that I don't think is fair because back in the day, man, I used to love me watching Pat Summitt coach. Me and Pat Summitt were like this, and she would do an interview for me. And listen, I don't want to bring this up because he did me dirty or whatever. And I was just a young broadcaster, real excited at UT. And as much as everybody loves Bruce Pearl or whatever, he did me dirty my senior year. But, Pat Summitt, on the other hand, she would give me an interview no matter what. All I had to do was clear it with the SID, which I didn't know at the time, with Bruce and so forth. And lo and behold, Pat Summitt, even when I went to Channel 10 and worked there in Channel 8, she always took the time to meet with me and would give me some great sound bites. Now, it was also the time when they were winning the back-to-back, the last two national championships with Ace Parker and Charday and Wiley Gatewood and Alexis Hornbuckle. All of them were there at that time. Alex Fuller. But at the same time, though, Pat was just amazing. Pat Summitt was amazing. And she is one of the greatest coaches in men's and women's basketball. And even Mike Krzyzewski said, if Pat hadn't passed or what have you, I'd never been able to catch her. Honestly, he said that. That's what Coach K said. Bobby Knight thought the world of her, who just recently passed away. So when you name names like that, Dean Smith always had love for Pat Summitt.
Yeah.
That tells you so. Even Gino Auriemma, despite the bad blood between them, he misses the hell out of her.
No, he does.
He said, she made me better. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And it hurts me to just go off the West subject to see the Lady Vols struggle, that we can't find anybody. It's disgusting. It is. It hurts me personally. And
because the men's basketball team is top 5. You see them
year in and year out.
They've got losses, but those losses are quality. I can live with those losses. Like,
yeah. And they're putting guys in the NBA. When have we put a Lady Vol in the WNBA? In the last time? I mean, honestly, Candace Parker, I feel, is like the last of the last, and she's having kids. I mean, she's on the down trend.
She's the last great. Well, I'll say in the last few years,
I thought Massengale was going to be good, or
Birdie.
Yeah, Birdie. Yeah, I thought she was. I mean, but honestly, like, you just don't see
Isabel Harrison.
Isabel Harrison. Yeah. So what I'm saying is they don't have the clout in the WNBA that all those UConn and South Carolina and Stanford players have now. You know what I mean? They just don't. You don't see. I remember that one draft that the Lady Vols had 5 girls drafted from that championship team in the WNBA draft. I mean, and it just hurts to see where the program is. And listen, I love me some Kelly Harper. I remember when she was Kelly Jolly. I went to school with her cousin. We were both broadcasters at the same time, Aaron Jolly. But what I'm saying is it hurts me that she has not done what she needed to do. And realistically, the athletic director is going to have a coming to Jesus moment, because there's a lot of Lady Vol fans, and they have been very patient, and they didn't get the results with Holly Warlick, and she definitely has not gotten the results with Kelly Harper, and it's unfortunate. It really is. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just Holly came right after Pat.
That was tough. That's kind of like what was his name? He recently passed away himself. Bill Guthridge coming after Dean Smith, and Matt Doherty and all that. And it took him a minute to find Roy Williams to get them back, on track, talking about UNC. And, I know that John Shire has a hell of a thing following Coach A, I mean, that's tough. That's
because
tough. I mean,
my thing is, you don't give that opportunity to a Tommy Amaker, maybe a Nate James, maybe. Shire gets that job. Shire's got a title with him, and it's a good way of passing the torch for Duke. But you mean to tell me that the other options weren't there either?
Yeah.
Just in a sense of there were other guys that probably could have been it, like Tommy. You mean Tommy Amaker didn't get look?
There's a lot. There's a controversy in that book that came out. Pete Newell. It's at Barnes and Noble if you ever want to read it. The Last Days of Kay and so forth. And for whatever reason, I don't know. I personally always thought it was going to be either Wojo or Johnny Dawkins, to be honest with you. I always thought.
I thought it was Johnny Dawkins.
Johnny Dawkins, I thought.
I felt like Johnny Dawkins was right there next to me.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing. Shire right now is such under a microscope. You know what I mean? And Duke fans, they just don't see development. That's what the talk is. You sign these top 3 classes every year, and you're not showing anything. You're losing to teams, and where's your big men? Where's your development? And here's the thing. Let me give you a case in point. Derek Lively was one of the number 1 player coming out of high school last year, and he was hurt. He was playing. He was a glorified rebounder and so forth like that. I see that cat with the Mavericks putting up double doubles, and he's in the running, not for rookie of the year, because that's either going to go to Bam or what's his name, but Chet Holmgren, who sat out last year. But he's going to be on that all-rookie team.
It'll be either Wemby or Chet for rookie of the year.
Yeah, exactly. But you're going to see that boy on the all-rookie team, and he's helped the Mavericks win some games. and he jumps out of I mean, you can't coach 7-1. He's every bit of 7-1, jumps out of a gym. And it's like, you had that dude last year and he was just a glorified rebounder and blocker. I mean, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. And again, here's the thing. If he don't turn it around in this year or next year, because he also got that Connor, the Cooper Flag kid, the thing, who is really good. But if he don't do anything with these two next teams or whatever like that, the 5-star McDonald All-Americans ain't going to come. They're just not. They're not with them, But back to Tennessee, though, I look at the Vols basketball team. They're going to get their legs under them, and they just need to get better. And it's all about matchups in March. It is all about matchups in March. And, they unfortunately were dealt a bad blow and made the most of it, losing your point guard to a torn ACL like that. And if they can stay injury-free, they can have a deep run in this tournament. This is going to be one of those years anybody can win it, two-pair. Anybody can win.
And then one thing, touching on that real quick, the Vols do play an undefeated Ole Miss team. I just don't know how good that Ole Miss team.
I don't think they've played anybody.
I don't really think they haven't played a tougher non-conference than Tennessee's played. And Tennessee finished up non-conference by beating Norfolk State last night. So they beat
them pretty good. They beat them by like 35 points or something.
Yeah, that's a good win. But I'm really interested in seeing this Chris Beard group Saturday at Food City Center at the old Tommy Bowl. I'll really be interested in seeing just the matchups because I feel like Tennessee is a top 5 basketball team in the country. At best, a number 2 or a number 3 seed going into the tournament right now. They just have to play well in conference. I'd say you go through the conference, if you can lose maybe 3 to 4 games in conference and then win another SEC tournament. But January is the big test. You have to go through January pretty flawless. No,
you do. I mean, and, to transition it back to the West, because, I want this show not just to be about West, but we'll talk about the happenings of college basketball, because here's the thing. College football's done on Monday, pretty much. And
pretty much done. How about
real quick. Who do you got? Who do you got in that game? Washington or Michigan? Who do you got?
I feel like it's Michigan against everybody.
Yep.
Michael Penix is, dude. He's
a video game.
He's otherworldly.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I will say, and I want to just touch on this. These bowl games have been some of the most meaningless, pointless.
Oh my God, we have to talk about it. No, let's talk about it. Here's the thing.
Florida State let me down so bad.
But you want to know something, though? Here's the truth of it. Two-pair, if it had been a 12-team playoff this year, would those guys have opted out? No. Come on.
No.
Yeah. So I'll give Florida State that. I mean,
it's more eyes on you.
Yeah.
Way more eyes on you, and that's why those guys. If I'm not playing for a national championship. What is the point, man? I'm just improving my draft status. I got enough tape.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to playing for a national title and you're getting more guys look at who wins titles in college football.
Yeah.
That's the guys they want for the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want winners.
Mm-hmm.
They want winners.
Well, and here's
the right group of talent together.
Well, here's the other thing, too. There's too many bowl games. I mean, no offense, but you're rewarding 6 and 6 teams. They even were using 5 and 7 teams to fill in that COVID year because the 6 and 6 teams didn't have enough guys that were not sick and the COVID was being spread. So you were rewarding 5 and 7 teams for getting to the playoffs because they played a 12-game schedule through COVID, which is fine. But my thing is I remember the days when there was 9 bowl games, okay? And it was something special to go 8-3 and get to that, to the Sun Bowl or to the Sugar Bowl or to, it was something.
You had to win 6 games to be bowl eligible.
Yes.
Bowl eligible. That means you're eligible for a bowl, but they ain't gonna pick you.
Yeah, exactly. And how many fans are going to travel? That's my question. How many fans are truly going to travel? And that's the thing that was so bothersome. It's like they had all these bowl games on. They have them during the day, and people got to work. Like who's really going to has the luxury of a TV and be able to watch it? Like they don't. Especially if you're a server of some kind at a restaurant. And everything like that. But I say all that
Mhm.
they're playing games in baseball stadiums. They're playing games.
Wait.
I said to Sandy, I was telling my wife, I said to her, I said, Tennessee got really lucky to get to Orlando this year. And she's like, oh, well, what's so special about that? And I said, well, because here's the thing, the players not only practice, but they go do fun stuff like Universal Studios and Disney and all that. If you go to the Tampa Bowl, it used to be the Outback. Now it's something else now, the ReliaQuest Bowl. But when it was the Outback Bowl, you'd go to Busch Gardens and you had like the steak eating challenge from the Outback Steakhouse or something like that. Other than those two bowl games, if you ain't in the New Year's Six, like the Dallas or the Rose Bowl,
Oh,
Fiesta Bowl, Orange Bowl, there ain't nothing for you to do. There's nothing in those other bowl games. There's nothing. So, I mean, it's a waste of time. And like you said, what's the incentive? I tear an ACL and then I can't do my pro day, or I can't even go to Indianapolis for the combine. I mean, you can't do a pro day at your school. You're dragging your leg around, and no team's going to take you. They're not. I mean, and then you think about the playoffs now. These 12 teams are going to go all in. That's what's going to be exciting next year. Right? And yeah, you're going to have a blowout when the 1 seed takes on the 12, or I think the first 4 are going to get a bye, if I'm not mistaken. So you could see whoever's the 5 seed blowing out the 12 seed. That's probably going to be the group of 5 team that gets that one spot. But realistically, I think that was shameful that transfer portal was allowed to be opened that quickly. And you had dudes wearing other teams' uniforms in the bowl game. They couldn't play, but they could practice. And they're wearing another uniform that they weren't wearing a month before. And that's disgusting. That's a slap in the face to your teammates from the other school. Honestly,
it,
it really is, in my opinion. I mean,
um,
don't play. You don't have to play, but stay with the team and transfer after the team season is over. Now, if you're on a losing team, that's a different story. But it's just ridiculous, man. It's really ruined college football for me, to be
no,
honest.
it's a yes and a no. It's like it's good and bad because now it's just become ridiculous and it's all driven by money. The whole
Oh
thing
yeah.
is a money grab. It's
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and can I tell you this too? In my opinion, or whatever, that Georgia team, I still don't know how they lost to Alabama in the SEC.
how
I don't know how that happened.
how did they how
Because
how
I ain't no Georgia fan. I ain't no Georgia fan. But I'm gonna tell you this:
that's
that was a scary group that was out there against Florida State. They took one dude out, put his replacement in, and he was just as good. And Brock Bowers wasn't even playing tight end. I mean, McConkey looked like a video game out there when he reversed course. My point is that team plays Michigan, Washington, or Texas. They roll all 3 of them, and I will swear it to anybody the way they put it on Florida State. They'd put that on anybody. They were that talented. He's got a factory over there. He's pretty
Alabama.
smart. He's got a factory, but I think he just got stupid playing Saban. I think it was like the mentor thing, and he was in his head. But there was no way they should have lost to that Alabama team in Atlanta. That's basically a home game for them. 2-pair is inexcusable. And you could have been the first 3-time national champion. I mean, you could have.
They got too cute. They had turnovers. That wasn't the same Georgia team I seen for 20 straight games. It was not.
No, that was not the Georgia team that walked into Neyland Stadium and made us look stupid. They made us look silly. And to further initiate it, that wasn't a bad Tennessee team this year. I think he stuck with Milton too long. He should have made the switch to Nico. And here's the thing. You let a couple out there that you had no business losing, and realistically, that bowl game proved that Iowa team was good defensively, and they couldn't do nothing against Tennessee's offense. Tennessee named that score in that game, and yet Iowa was in the Big Ten championship game.
Against
And Michigan struggled with them. They did struggle with them in that game. So,
well, my thing about the Tennessee football team, you should have went to Nico after the Kentucky game.
yeah.
I feel like after the Kentucky game, Joe just wasn't going to get any better. His best game was against Vanderbilt.
Isn't that something? Twice. Yeah.
Maybe
Clemson last year. Maybe that was a good game for him.
But
Clemson.
With him, playing with Hendon's squad. So
that's true also. Yeah.
You looked great last year, but I was just at the point where you have to go to the younger kid sooner than later, because you're not gonna get that same. It's not the same thing. Like, Joe's good athlete, doesn't make a lot of plays.
No, and he's overthrowing. I mean, look, great, you can throw the ball 75 yards, but if you have no timing with your receivers, what's the point? Go to the one. Remember those competitions they used to have with the
quarterback?
Yeah, remember, like, Marino would be on his knee in Montana, and they wanted to see who could throw it further, and Brett Favre was in that competition. I mean, that's something Milton needs to go do. He'll win that. But when you're talking about timing and putting the ball where the DB can't get it or the safety can't jump the route, or what about this? He didn't have a touch on a pass. He would throw it too hard when he would roll out. And it's like, if you soft it in there, that's a first down. The drive keeps going. You're not getting punt team out there. That's what was frustrating to watch when you watched Tennessee football this year, because the offense was good enough, and I thought it was, with how they looked in the Virginia game. But, man, I started getting red flags in that second game.
Once they started dropping
Austin Peay. And they didn't look that good against Austin Peay. I was like, wait a minute. They should have put 60 points on this team.
The way they dropped passes, they dropped too many passes.
Yeah. Early problems.
And I think what's going to help Nico is that he's got Brew McCoy coming back.
Yep. He's got Evan Stewart, the great Texas A&M wide receivers transferring in. He's going to be a hell of a contributor, that kid, Evan Stewart. Watch him.
I thought losing D. Williams, that's a big loss. I think losing the two running backs, but this is Dylan Sampson's year.
And they got a good freshman coming in. He can play right away. The kid out of Florida that signed with them. I can't think of his name. He's a 4-star. He's top.
But how about Cam Selden?
Yeah. They've got people. They're going to have people. And then the offensive line getting what's his name back from Catholic for one more year. The younger brother, Mace. I mean, that's huge. That's huge right there. That's like having another captain. The center is the guy that gets everybody organized and is the lead dog on the offensive line. That's a huge boost. So, yeah.
Yeah, Cooper and Cade, man, they were.
Yeah. And Cooper gets one more year because of the COVID. This is the last year that everybody who was around that time gets that last year. Now it's back to, 4 or 5 years, depending if you red shirt or medical red shirt or gray shirt, all that stuff, And then, of course, they've been very lax on the fact that you can play 4 games and still red shirt, like you can, and I'll tell you this, why not use that? Honestly, why not use that? Because you'll see who you got, and get them in the weight room then if they're not ready and so forth, and tell them this is what you need to work on, this and this and so forth, so you can play major ball for us come next year or whatever like that. And there's a lot to be said about getting game reps compared to practice. There really is. In any sport, in any sport. So, but one more thing, because I know we went a little bit over, but you and me could talk sports all day, brother. I love this, and anybody that watches this either live or recorded. Shout out to you guys, because this show is going to continue to grow. And of course, it's going to be very exciting when we get guests on here and get more stories and so forth. And again, show up tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, to support the girls team against Alcoa. The grudge match between Aluminum City as well as Marble City starts at 7:30 with the boys. The rematch, and then of course, if you can't make tomorrow night, Tuesday night, West will play Farragut in an old-fashioned rivalry grudge match. Farragut's kind of limping in with a 5-12 record, but it's still Farragut and West, and you can't dismiss it.
And
You got to throw out the records when those two teams play. It's a rivalry, and they've had some classic basketball games over the years between both those schools, and luckily that will be at West as well. So that's also 6 and 7:30 for the girls and boys on Tuesday night, and obviously next week's show we will recap both games, and I'm going to throw it out there. I think we win and get both wins, and we'll be, I believe, 11-2 if we win both two pair. Because right now we're 9-2.
that would be.
I think we're 9-2 right now.
Let's see. We are. Let's pull it all up.
Yep.
I just pulled it down, but let me pull it back up. We are 9-2, 1-0 in the district. That is good for third in 4A District 4. Then when we look at it more closely, ladies and gentlemen, the West High Rebels, they rank 21 in the state.
That's awesome.
They are number 8 in the Tennessee Division 4A. In Knoxville, they are the 5th best team.
And that is the largest classification in the state of Tennessee. Is that correct?
That is.
Boys, if you're watching this show out tomorrow night, you become the kings of 4A. Just like the football team is the kings of 5A, you go out there, you show Alcoa why you're better than them, beat them, and then turn it around on Tuesday and, get ready for Farragut, which is a district game, and just start going through it. Because now, like you said, January, these are district games. After tomorrow, these are all pretty much district games, and you're now getting positioned for the tournament. And the district tournament and region tournaments will be here before we know it. So that's why it's an exciting time. 2 or 3 games a week or what have you, and it goes by fast. You've been doing this for 18 years, and not only just as the voice, but also as a player even before then. You know that the season always goes by fast for basketball. It really does.
Man, it goes by super quick. The games can go by extremely fast, and the way West has been playing lately, I really like the way they've been tuned. They've had a long layoff though.
Yeah,
a long layoff. So hopefully they'll get in there, and we'll see what they'll do and provide a great basketball game for us.
I think so. I think it's going to be a classic game. A lot of athletes, a lot of coaching, X's and O's. It should be a fantastic atmosphere. Alcoa travels well in anything that they do, so they'll be there tomorrow night to support. So I hope that the kids come out and cheer on their classmates. And I know it's the first day of school and all that's back, but should be a fun night there at the West Gym. And and then again on Tuesday when Farragut and West get together, that's always fun with their students balking at ours and our students balking at them. And I'm looking forward to a great atmosphere next Tuesday as well. So, but one thing I wanted to ask you real quick too, Per, before we sign off. So West football, I don't know. They always have somebody different running the music, and me being up in the press box, I'm a little bit of a ham, and I always slip a little paper to the person doing the music, and I say, it ain't a question if we're going to win. It's how much we're going to win by. But I want DJ Khaled, all we do is win, playing right when the clock strikes 0, and they do it at West Football Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They do, because that's my song.
Basketball a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, but I think – I don't know what you end it with. If you're in control of the music or whatever like that, and tomorrow we got at least one more point than them on the scoreboard, I think we'll have a couple more than that. I want to hear "All We Do Is Win," baby, because that
Yeah.
is contagious. That song, and I've even changed the lyrics that all West does is win, win, win,
Mhm.
and we stay there, and we stay there. That's the theme song of West football, and it needs to trickle down to all the other sports. That all West does is win, win, win. So simple as that. Yeah. Any final thoughts, brother, in this last minute or so?
Oh man, make sure y'all get out there and we're gonna enjoy ourselves and have a good time tomorrow, and hopefully take a big W.
I think we will. I feel good.
A cold. You know what I'm saying we take take it Aluminum City through there as we throw the W's up on the win.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do it right now. Let's throw them W's up right now. That is what it's all about right there. Honestly, we stay there, and they're gonna come down to 3300 Sutherland Avenue, and we're gonna send them back to Pistol Creek with a big L. That's what we're gonna do, honestly. So yeah, I feel it deep down. So. But that's all the time we got for tonight. For those that tuned in live, we love you. Next time, be a little bit more vocal on that comment box.
Yeah,
For
please.
those that two pair. You know what I didn't do last time, brother? What's your email address? Just in case anybody ever has any questions for you that maybe they can't watch the show live and they want to know something about West basketball or anything like that. And shout it out the email address, bud.
Yeah, that is it. Dutch Master Flex 1 at gmail.com. It sounds the way I said
I
it.
love it. I love it. I love it. And if you got any questions for me, it's the game triple J at gmail.com. Again, the game triple J gmail.com. There's not three J's. It's really just spelled out the game triple and then one J at gmail.com. But hit us up if you can't go with us live. Obviously, give us some likes on this YouTube channel and subscribe. And that way we can get more out there. And again, I want to give one last shout out to Kim Castle and Tune Up for my hair and beard, and go pay them a visit at one of their 4 locations, and go give some business to Frank and Jeanette. They're great people who own the Tune Ups, and they just opened up one in Alcoa, ironically as well. So, but Hardin Valley, Carnes, Lenore City, and Alcoa now. They're four spots for some fun and alone time for yourself there, getting groomed and having a drink, watching the game. So, but with all love and everything, for everybody else that supports us, just like I said, like and subscribe. And tomorrow night, the grudge match in Marble City, Aluminum City versus Marble City. Boys basketball, 7:30. Come out at 6 and support the girls, and then the boys game will be the main event, so to speak, tomorrow night. And we're both expecting a hell of a game. So come out. If you can't come out, listen to it on radio or DiamondClearMedia.com. I'm sure it'll be out there as well. So for my boy Two Pair Tate, I'm the Italian Stallion. Thank you for stopping and taking the time to watch Rebels with a Cause. We out. Go Rebels. It's
Dubs up.
always about the W.
Dubs up.